Hello, my name is Sharon O'Boyle. I have been a software tester for the last nearly 7 years now, and I'm based in Galway in the west of Ireland. I'm very happy to be here today and to have been invited to share my opinion on what I think are qualities of a good tester. I've been thinking about this and reflecting on it for the past few days, and there are many qualities that could make a good tester, but I've picked a few that I feel that are very important. So we're working in the software development industry and delivering software at faster and faster paces all the time. So it's quite a challenging industry where technologies are changing, delivery methodologies are changing. They've gone from waterfall to agile to DevOps and CI/CD. So it's quite a challenging environment to work in. Oftentimes, with all the complexity of the systems that we're testing and the technology is changing, you can't really predict how software is going to behave until you actually interact with the software. Even though in some methodologies like Agile, we create user stories and we define acceptance criteria saying how the product is expected to work, or how the feature that's going to be delivered is going to work. Developers, for example, with the builder's mindset, would test or check that their product maybe is working according to that specification. So if you come along as a tester with a similar mindset, checking that the product works according to the specification or according to the acceptance criteria is really more of a verification process. It's not really testing the product or the feature. So the tester's mindset is very different to the builder's mindset. A tester, and this is where the first very important quality that a good tester would show is the ability to think critically. So critical thinking is a very important skill that we need to keep developing over time. A good tester will think critically about the product and the project, and they will, not take things at face value. They will always question things like assumptions. They try to dig in behind the scenes of the product and the project to understand what's really going on, and go in with an attitude of what could go wrong here, or is there a problem here? So that's a very important part of being a tester. And a very important part of critical thinking is questioning. So good testers will always be asking questions, not just random questions or questions for the sake of it. Actually, very important questions that help you to inform how you're going to test the product and how to define your strategy. For example, asking about the context of the project and the product will help you to define what you can and cannot do in testing. You need to be very clear on the mission of your testing. Every time you're testing, you need to be clear on what information you're trying to find out. You can test, or you can ask questions about all parts of the software development life cycle, from the designs, the requirements, acceptance criteria, and actually while you're testing the product using an exploratory testing approach, you are always questioning the product. You come up with a question and then you define an experiment, which is the same thing as designing a test, to be able to find out the information that you need to answer that question. And then you execute this test and execute this experiment, and you observe what information you find. Throughout that process, then you come up with more questions about how the product is working, and you go back and you design new experiments and you continue on that process until you feel that you've got a very good understanding of the way the feature is working, and have also found issues and bugs and a lot of information that's important for feeding back to relevant people. And that leads me on to my next trait, which is the ability to be able to communicate effectively with different people on the team. So on our teams, we have multiple stakeholders, that need information, and we as testers, we need to be able to communicate that information to them in an effective way. So all stakeholders have different requirements from the testing process. They want to know different things. For example, it's very different reporting on your testing status to a manager versus talking to a developer and discussing the technical implementation details of the feature they've just delivered in order to try to identify what are the risk areas. So these require different ways of communication and developing the skill of being able to, communicate in the right way to and the appropriate way to the stakeholders in their own language is really important and help you to be and a good trait that good testers will show. So as well as that, if we're looking at all of this technological change, there are tools that are coming out all of the time that are supposed to help us with our testing. We can actually create tools ourselves to help us with our testing. So you're always learning. The new features that come, you need to learn about those. You need to learn about those deeply through your exploratory testing and questioning. You are always seeking new ways to help you to become a better tester, to help you to do your testing better. Understanding what are the different test design techniques out there that we can use and apply in our testing, so that we diversify our thinking, and we in that way we can kind of cover the more important risks, or at least make our best effort to do that. Finding ways to use tools to help us be more efficient and effective in our testing. For example, trying to use tools to help us to create our data faster and more reliably. Also using automation to help us to automate repetitive tasks, such as test environment creation. That can all help us to be more efficient and more effective in our testing. So when you actually start delving into learning about testing, you soon will discover that there's much more to testing than what maybe is commonly misunderstood in industry to be, following steps in a test case, pushing some buttons, and perhaps automating those steps. In fact, there's a whole wide world of testing there to be explored in itself. And when you do discover this, it's actually both exciting and overwhelming at the same time. It's exciting because you suddenly realize, wow, there's so much to learn, and so much that you can apply, so many new things you can apply in your job, and that can really help you to be more efficient and effective in your role. That's very exciting. It's overwhelming because there is so much to learn, you hardly know where to start. But the great thing is that the testing community is a fantastic community. When you go out there, you actually discover there are great testing leaders in the world, people like James Bach and Michael Bolton, who are out there all the time trying to correct all these misunderstandings of what testing is in industry, trying to educate testers so that we can actually start advocating for what is good testing, and they're always willing to help testers who are interested to learn and become better at the craft, and become advocates for that craft. So we're very lucky in that way, and I would recommend anybody who wants to become a better tester, reach out to these people, learn from them, join testing communities like the Test Tribe and Ministry of Testing and other communities that are there, where testers come together to share their skills, to share their knowledge, to support each other. It's a wonderful environment, and you'll find that there is help there if you need it. Also, you can read the blogs, join meetups, attend different webinars that can help you to really learn about the testing craft and deepen and develop your skills. And along the way, you'll surely make friendships with people who are like-minded like yourself and who have a passion for the craft. So it's a challenging role, but it's also a very exciting role. And with all of that support and network out there, there's no reason for anyone to feel that they cannot succeed and be a good tester. So I encourage everybody in this way. And just really, I think that's it from me for today. To summarize, the main qualities I look for in a tester, or that I feel are good in a tester, that I'm aspiring to keep improving myself, are critical thinking skills, questioning, communication, continuous learning, and a passion for the craft. I thank you very sincerely, the Test Chat team, and Himani for your guidance and for the opportunity to speak today. Also thank my husband for his ongoing support and help with this today. This has been my first video chat, and it's been a great opportunity for me. So thank you very much for this. I wish everyone the best, and happy testing.
Hello everyone, I'm Shweta and I'm based in Mumbai. So this is the very first time I'm talking on this platform provided by the Test Chat, and this is the new series called Women's in Testing. So I will be talking on one question today. So before I start, just to talk about myself, I have total 11 years of experience in software testing. I've worked on different domains and frameworks. Right now I'm in the role of QA manager, as well as you know, it's agile, nobody's allowed to sit back and rest, so I'm testing as well. So yeah, so I got a question to talk about today is what are the top qualities you look into a tester. So just to start with that, first quality or skill on my list is being curious. So there is a phrase, or they say like a consistent quality of a tester is being curious or having an inquisitive mind. So how does that helps, like being curious, right? So when you ask more question, or when you have that kind of thought process, being curious, like never settle for whatever the limited information, or in terms of say agile we say stories, or uh, whatever information, basic information provided to you. So a curious mind will never settle for that. They will always try to know like how this is implemented, like what programming language they are using, how the architecture behind this implementation, how it's that functionality is going to benefit the end user. So all these kind of shallow areas you will always try to dig out more. Your mind will be always open for more and more information. And along with this, like being curious, I would say never hesitate to share information if you have any suggestions or improvement, like for the betterment of the application or the end product. So just I would like to add to this, like no question is a dumb question. You should always ask questions, please. I mean, don't be so shy. That's not going to help to you, to grow as an individual or in your professional journey. So yeah, this quality is on my top list. So second I would like to talk about is having a good communication skill. So yeah, right. In our day-to-day life, we always hear like in your interviews, or so they always there are some points where you will be judged on your communication skill. Yeah, there are definitely few myths on communication skills. Like just to clarify on that part, it's not like somebody is speaking fluent English or having a very powerful vocab doesn't make you a good communicator. So there are different sub factors, different areas to that. So when we talk about communication, so it begins with a great listening skills. So in the agile framework, we face many calls. Like communication has 80% part of your work, you know as compared to your waterfall methodologies in day to day. Your working hours, you spend a lot of time in the agile ritual calls, like your planning, stand ups, grooming, and all the other calls. So there is a great opportunity to coordinate with people to get clarifications, or to put your ideas maybe in terms of verbal or written communication. So have that clarity of thought. If you need some homework, do that, just rephrase it. It should be short and crisp, and try to make your point at end of the discussion. So having good communication skill is really important for a tester, because in that way you can share your ideas and suggestions in a very proper manner, or get some information how to get it. There are different ways of having a good communication skill. So yeah, that is the second quality I would say. And the third, last but not the least, will say being assertive is really a need of time for a tester, and having a lot of patience. Why patience? I mean, it's very important for you, not to react immediately to any conversation. There are situations in a tester's life, I would say, wherein your point is not taken. Maybe it's very valuable, but you are not getting that chance when there are where a huge team is involved, and a lot of other people, maybe the big shots of your team are talking, but you think you can strike through their point, and if you think your point of view must be taken, so if you can handle that situation, you can study that situation, evaluate it, and then act positively without hurting somebody's feelings, or being disrespectful to others. If you are able to tactfully handle that situation, and you can successfully make your point and can put your points further, so that really helps a lot. I mean, you are responsible for your own actions, so just ultimately being assertive helps you by handling the situation tactfully, and at end of the day you are taking ownership of your own actions, and uh, you definitely you are contributing more to the end product, I would say. So that's the third most quality. So just to summarize, so being curious, always be curious, never just limit yourself in that manner, and work on your communication skills and being assertive. So these are the topmost qualities I will look into a tester. So yeah, that's all from my end. So I will close my answer to this question here. So thanks again, test chat, for this opportunity to share my thoughts. Looking forward for more sessions to talk on in future. So till then, all of you just take care and bye. Thank you.